90% of the world is starving to death. That guy. Eat a salad and get on the treadmill like the rest of us.
Hello, what's the crack? What's the story? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 billboard moments on Conan. This guy is a living legend. This guy is funny. Let's go.
So does your wife watch any of these games with you? Does she?
No, she has the female, complex, multitasking brain. That's why they can't be happy. They just always, they're like, what is that lizard that can look at two things at once? That's what they're like. So they got the shoes they want, and then they see some other woman walking in going, oh, look at this skinny bitch over here. She thinks she's cute, right? And that's what I've learned.
Oh, God.
You know what makes women happy? Nothing. Nothing makes them happy, and that is why they are slowly taking over the NFL, because it annoys them that we can just sit there with, like, a pizza and a drink, like, that's not holding, and just be like, and enjoy ourselves.
So you're saying that because you're happy that you think your wife and women in general want to take
They're jealous of it. They're jealous how simple the male brain is, that you can just sit there and be entertained and find true happiness, and it just bugs them, so they gotta ruin it. And they're slowly taking over the NFL. You know, all next month, once again, they're gonna dress everybody in the NFL like newborn baby girls, for whatever reason. Did you forget that there's breast cancer for a year ago?
Yeah, so they did it last year, and they're gonna do it again this year.
Yes. They're slowly gonna take it over, and they...
Why is that a bad thing? Oh my God. I'm like, Billboard just rants over anything. He doesn't care. He'd rant over anything. That's why I love him. He doesn't care.
They're gonna move us out, because I'm telling you, I don't understand why they keep trying to go into a male football league. It's like, why don't you guys band together and start your own league? Get your own thing going. But I realize they don't want their own thing. They don't want their own shit. They want our shit. I don't know what it is. And I think it's because we're happy. We're just sitting there enjoying ourselves, having a good time without them. It drives them nuts, and they just got to go in there and ruin it.
So they don't like, they got women's basketball.
They don't even like it. They don't even like most of them they don't even like football. Like, I don't get it. I don't get, like, the fascination. Like, if my wife is having, like, 3 of her friends over, I screw. I leave. I don't need to be there and ruin it for her. I know you guys... I'm going to change the dynamic because I'm there, and you can't talk about 100% female stuff. Out of courtesy, I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to leave.
But they can't do that, you're saying?
One guy, one chauvinistic jackass up there understands what I'm saying.
He's like Edison. I don't know. He invented all this stuff that everybody... What are you talking about?
Did he? Did he sit down and, like, I'm going to invent the iPhone, and just sat there soldering, possibly welding, right? Didn't he have, like, a crew of guys helping him out?
Sure, maybe he did.
So why, when he went to those nerd fests, didn't he have, like a chorus of scientists behind him who helped him out, too? He walked out like he was Tesla. Like, tapping into electricity.
I'm not with you.
I think he just kind of, like, told people what to invent. Like, he just kind of came in like, I want my whole music collection in that phone. Get on!
Wait, who's he on about? Is he on about Steve Jobs? Is that what he's talking about? I think so.
On it! And then all these nameless, faceless guys made it happen.
Yeah.
And then they have the big nerd concert, and he goes out there by himself. No belt, you know, sneakers on. I just didn't buy it. It's a great way to tap out from the news and just, you know, watch a game and get away from it. Now there's, like, all these causes are getting, like, attached to it. Like, I was watching the World Series, and I'm in the middle of watching the World Series, and out of nowhere they have this moment, stand up to cancer. I'm watching a ball game, and all of a sudden, everybody stands up, holding up a sign of somebody that they either know that's dying of cancer or died of it in the middle of the game. It's just like, what are you doing? Trying to watch a game here. You know, no, there's a time and a place. Look, I know somebody that has died of cancer. I would never go to the movies with you and in the middle of it hit pause and be like, oh, by the way, Conan, I know this guy. He died of cancer. It was horrific. I could have lifted him up off the sheet with 2 fingers. It was horrible. Hey, enjoy. Oh, by the way, I got molested when I was 9. Enjoy the rest of this. He didn't do anything to me. You know what he did for me? He raised $500 million for cancer research. That's what that lie did. Yeah, it was great. And everybody had the bands on. Remember the bands?
Yeah. Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That blocked out the sun.
It's weird seeing him with hair as well. He had a bit of hair there. That's so weird to see.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, it wasn't to block out the sun.
No wrist cancer?
Yeah.
No, the whole thing was annoying, and I hated how Oprah was interviewing him and acting like she was dumbfounded that this guy would do this. Like, she's been in show business for 35 years, and she can't, like, wrap her head around some guy doing whatever it takes to get to the next level. Didn't she, for the first 5 years, have, like, midgets who wanted to bang their mailman's boyfriend? And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have the power to say no, so she wrote it out. And then when she could make a good decision, she did a show. But she stood on the heads of those little people for 5 years until she got... And then she's sitting there across from this guy like, so how could you... You know exactly what he's doing. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Look, the guy was a sociopath on a bicycle, all right? As far as I'm concerned, we got off easy.
Yeah.
If that guy was working for a corporation, he probably would have been pouring stuff in the water supply, doing God knows what. Just keep him on the bike. Just let him go up and down the hill. He's not hurting anybody.
Not hurting anybody.
He isn't. And the top 20 guys, like, all tested positive for roids. So our roided up guy beat your roided up guy. Okay? And those guys who run that filthy sport, who are sitting there going like, oh, this is ridiculous. He doesn't represent cycling. Are they going to return all the money that they made off of that guy? Huh?
I'm guessing this is about Lance Armstrong, isn't it? I think so, from cycling. Yeah.
They're going to turn in their yachts? They're not going to. They're not going to do it.
Everyone turn in your yacht. Are you worried about him at all being in office? Do you think, does it concern you?
I don't know. I feel like the president, you only see him like once every 3 weeks. You know? It'd be like if you were dating a chick and if she was a jerk, but you only saw her once every 3 weeks. There's like no way she could break your heart, you know?
What?
No, you gotta see.
Immigration site to move to Canada crashed. Do you think people are going to really move to Canada? Do you think
I hope so. I hope so.
You want
Yeah,
people
there's
to move
too many people here. The rent's too high and all that. Just thin it out. Give us a little negotiating thing. And then what's going to be funny up there, it's not going to be Michael Moore's Canada. What he said, oh, you keep your doors unlocked and everybody's drinking syrup and it's, yeah.
He didn't say everyone's drinking syrup. I'm quite
Talk
certain.
to anybody of color that tried to make it playing hockey up there. Listen to the stories they had. You'd be like, were you in Alabama? No, it was in Manitoba. Yeah, those are still white people up there.
Yeah.
Just because they're on the other side of the invisible line doesn't mean that they're not going to act like white people.
Yeah. So you're not a big fan of Canada, is what you're saying?
No, I love Canada, but I don't go up there with like this starry look in my eye, like everyone's going to be riding around on mooses, right? It's just like
It's environmental stuff. You really are worried about it.
I am and I'm not. I just also feel like, you know, it'd probably be a good thing if most of us died. You know what I mean? It would be. There's nothing wrong with driving a gas-guzzling car. There's just too many people doing it.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out a way to, like, thin out the herd, and it's too late. No, these are the hard decisions that are going to have to be made.
We're here to hear about some hard choices.
Yeah. So, you know how I would do it?
What?
I would randomly sink cruise ships. Yeah.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's hear him out. Why would you randomly sink cruise ship?
Because you get like 2,500 to 3,000 people a whack, right? And I think it's a good mix of people to get rid of. To be honest with you. They're not interested.
What happens after the second time they catch on?
No, because this is what you do. As you're sinking them, you're building an exact replica. So as you're eliminating people, you're like creating jobs. And you just, like a lazy Susan. The latest thing that's driving me nuts is I spent 20 years in the back of the plane getting treated like an animal. And I finally worked my way up to the front of the plane, Group 1, which means you get to board like it's your plane, right?
You get to board.
Yes. You
first,
sit in a chair that's the size for a human being. There's a place for your bag.
Yep.
Right? You get a little hot towel and all that. And then the second I get that, all of a sudden now, there's like these 20 groups that are like pre-boarding now. Like half the plane qualifies, and they're getting on, and I just sit there just like losing my shit. You know? It starts off like, it's just like anybody in uniform, anybody in military. So it's like, all right, all right. But after like the 20th guy, you just start being like, have you seen action? Are you on the front lines at least? Right? Then it's anybody with kids, anybody with disabilities, and then just anybody with a red shirt. Hey, it's Tony Tuesday. Anybody named Anthony can get on. Dude, I sat one time, I saw this guy get on the plane. Okay, he wasn't in uniform, he didn't have kids, he had all his limbs, he wasn't limping, he didn't have a cough, he just walked on the plane. It's like, who the is that guy? Like, how did I get on before that guy? So, no, I always hated the anxiety of being in the back of the plane. I just remember, like, the worst is whenever you would get your seat and you'd sit there and they're about ready to close the door and you'd have that empty seat next to you. Like the poor man's first class. You're like, oh, shit, I'll bring the armrest up. I can actually be great. And then all of a sudden, some fat bastard gets on the platform and you're like, no. You're like Quint at the end of Jaws, like sliding down the bar. Right? One time, I swear to God, this is all true. This dude got on. He was so fat. He was sitting next to me. I was literally next to him and behind him. He like tried to make himself smaller, and he like folded his arm, and his lat came out like a, you know, those old Western saloon things. I'm just sitting behind this thing. So yeah, that motivates you to try to get to a certain
all these
place
years,
in life.
20 years, you work your way up to the front, and now still they won't let you.
Yeah, now that fat guy's considered disabled because he can't stop eating cookies. So he gets on. Look at everybody groaning. 90% of the world is starving to death. That guy. Eat a salad and get on the treadmill like the rest of us.
Were you flipping out the day like when you met? Did you flip out? Did you really that?
Yeah,
early in the
I remember.
courtship?
She told me to go see that movie Monster. Remember that movie with Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was saying how, oh my God, it was unbelievable. Like, they literally blamed guys that she was a serial killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you saw the Jeffrey Dahmer movie, it wasn't like, somebody shoved a tuna fish sandwich up my ass, and I confused people with food, so they didn't make, like, a big excuse for him. You know? She was a psycho killing people, and she should have died. But I'm like watching it feeling guilt. Do they ever take responsibility for their actions? Even when they're murdering people, it's somehow our fault. It's unreal.
Why would having a tuna fish sandwich shoved up your butt make you want to eat people?
Because another man did it. Right? So it's another person. So you equated, I don't know, sex with food? I forget how the idea went. But all I know is she laughed when I said it. She was dying laughing and kind of saw my point. And I always hate when she says to me, she'll just be like, you know, I just don't see where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? It's just like, honey, how many childhood stories do I have to tell you before you follow the breadcrumbs to the psycho that you married? I mean, did you ever take a psychology class like you didn't see this coming?
Right.
That's what it is. It's not that she says that I'm a jerk. It's just the nerve to be surprised. It's just like about annoying people. Like when people tweet, it's very easy to piss off one side. The art.
I just realized I haven't paused this in like 5-6 minutes. This is just quality. This guy is probably, out of like 5 comedians, probably one of them that I can just watch and not pause it. He's so good. He's so good. Unbelievable.
You got to try to get everybody. So you tweet stuff like, Trump is such a dope, he's actually going to make me vote for a woman. Right? And then you just sit back. Intentionally. And you just watch him. You're like, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
You're mad that children are not being hit.
There should be the threat of it. Half of it was just that, look, it was just your dad was acting like he was going to do it. He never did it, but your mother did. And because she was a woman, it was like, okay. Because it was like, hey, you let a girl beat you up, you kind of felt emasculated.
Yeah.
We had a rule, a lot of the stuff that I look at from when I was a kid that actually kind of made sense in a way would now be considered like abuse, I guess. Like when I was a kid, if you didn't finish your supper, as we called it.
Supper, yeah.
Yeah, my mother was just like, well, you're gonna finish, she would just wrap it in cellophane and you just picked up where you left off for breakfast, like a blue collar job. Like you take the shovel out of the hole and just start digging it again. So, yeah, I remember one night we had cube steaks, which is like one of the toughest pieces of meat. I don't know if you guys, everything's so like Asian infused Wagyu beef. Everybody's eating that crap now, but cube steak was like, literally had to hit it with a hammer to make it like edible. And so we were having cube steaks, and I forget, my little brother was still in a high chair, and he couldn't finish his. So my mother goes, all right, well, you're just gonna have to eat it for breakfast. And that was like 8 hours away, which was like half his life. So he was like, all right, I'll take that deal. So the next morning, I remember we were having waffles. My mother always made Sunday breakfast, so we had all these waffles, eggs, bacon, this whole layout. My brother was looking at half-eaten cube steaks and a little mound of green bean casserole. And he goes, so he looked at my mom, he goes, Mom, can I have a waffle? And she goes, no, you gotta finish your supper. He's like, well, after I finish my supper, then can I have a waffle? She goes, no, that is your breakfast. And he goes, oh, Mom, I hate you. And my dad, without looking up, took a full glass of milk and threw it in his face. Swear to God. This is what kills me. What kills me.
You want everyone today to have as miserable a
No, but it was kind of funny. We know what's hilarious was my mother just popped up and just immediately started cleaning up, and my dad just kept eating. Like he didn't like the roles were defined back then. Now the guy has to throw the milk, he has to clean it up while telling his wife she's brave for just sitting there. Like whatever that is. Can you hear it? Oh, I know. Women are so overrated, right? We went from we went from not listening to them to now it's ridiculous. Like that believe women. It's like all of them. How about 85%? I'll give you 87%, all right? But that last 13% that keys your car, lights your shit on fire, and puts a family pet in a pot of stew.
That was so good. That was so good. I really enjoyed that. Burr is absolutely quality. What a guy. If you like that, make sure you like, comment down below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.